Hello folks, welcome. Today we're going to go through one of our next recipes, the flan. Wonderful kind of Spanish heritage dessert, largely kind of a milk pudding type. Ms. Ashley will be entering the scene here. She's going to start with the first part of it. You're going to want to take 1 cup of sugar into a pan, and you're going to melt it until it's a nice caramelized brown liquid like that. Pour it out into the bottom of a 9-inch pie dish or pie pan, and then you're just going to want to gently swirl it a little bit to kind of get a nice even coating on the bottom. And as you're doing this, this will make what a lot of people consider the top, because you will be flipping this dessert later. Finish that. Going through the rest of our ingredients, we have 3 eggs, we have a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, a 16-ounce can or a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk, and as well as a tablespoon of vanilla. We're going with 2 tablespoons just because we do enjoy the vanilla flavor. And we're using imitation vanilla. And it's imitation vanilla. So the next dish here, the next item, anytime you're cooking something like this where it's moisture sensitive, we're going to have a little water bath going in a 350-degree oven as well, and that way it'll help bring some moisture into the air around it, and it'll be less tendency to kind of dry out the dessert there.
So one thing to keep in mind with this is you're working with sugar is you'll want to work pretty fast, as you can maybe see if Race gets his hands out of the way here, that it's already starting to crystallize here, and that's why we had to work so quickly. Another thing is a lot of recipes will tell you to be melting your sugar over medium-high or slightly more than medium-high. We're going to tell you right now that doesn't work. We tried that the first time, burnt right away, like even with stirring was, burnt and half of it wasn't melting. A lot of them say don't stir. Again, I would stir constantly, do it over, low medium heat. We do have a couple clumps in there, but I think it'll still taste pretty good. So then next, as he said, we're doing a can of condensed milk, a can of evaporated milk, and our 2 tablespoons of vanilla, and then 3 eggs that we kind of beat a little bit already. So we'll go ahead and add those in, and then we're going to want to mix this up real nice here. And like he said, the water bath, so if you have a deeper dish that yours will fit into, that would be a great time to use it, just because that'll help it not stick to the edges. If you have a little bit smaller pan, you'll actually want to swirl the caramel so it comes up on the edges. We're using a little bit bigger today because we wanted to use the silicone pan versus the metal pan, just so that it would release easier since it's flexible. You can pop it right out. But with that, you'll want the oven at about 350. So once that's preheated and we have this nice and mixed up here, we'll go ahead and he's going to mix it up a little bit more with the whisk, but we'll go ahead and pour that in here. And then once we do that, we'll be covering this with tin foil and baking it for about an hour, but we'll start checking in at about 40 minutes. And it'll kind of start setting up. It's still supposed to be a kind of loose dessert, but you don't want it to be runny. So once it starts to set up, you can pull it out, and then you'll typically want to chill this overnight or at least 6 hours. We will check back and put in the comments how long we're doing it. We're going to try putting it outside. It's snowing quite a bit right now, so we're going to try chilling it that way and hoping to get under the 6-hour mark. We'll check in at about 2. But as you can see here, it doesn't come all the way to the top because we have a little bit bigger pan there. So something else you could use would either be a pie plate or something like this. But looks very creamy here. This is a pretty simple, as far as ingredients go, a pretty simple dessert. Like I said, the hardest part is going to be getting that sugar right and possibly tearing the tin foil here. But we'll just cover that 350, and then we'll show you what it's like when we're done, and we'll let you know how it turns out. But this is a great dessert, and it's a little bit healthier. It's also, the gluten-free thing if you're looking for someone who is gluten-free. However, it has a lot of dairy in it, so if you're lactose intolerant, that might be a problem. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and put this in and we will check back after it's cooked. And be careful of the bottom because we have that hot sugar in there. So you want to be careful as not to burn yourself while you're moving it.
All right, thanks guys. We'll check in a little bit later.